Meanwhile, at the Hall of Cage.
Well, I'm one of those fortunate people who like my job, sir. Got my first chemistry set when I was 7, blew my eyebrows off, we never saw the cat again, been into it ever since.
I did a bare 360 triple backflip in front of 22,000 people. It's kind of funny. It's on YouTube. Check it out.
Oh my God, a gun!
Somehow they managed to get every creeping freak in the universe in this one plane.
Coffee and a muffin. Okay, so I need to establish themes. Maybe banana nut. That's a good muffin.
So just quiet down, my little one, and call me Dad.
We get some balloons and go to the puppet show.
Sorry, boss, but there's only 2 men I trust. One of them's me, and the other's not you.
It replays.
Oh, shit.
Ooh, I bet that was
Tempting, but no.
It's like
I wouldn't go. That wasn't the word I was looking for, but
it's like tempting. Yes, let me throw it away for you. Besides, we've already covered the Twilight series on AYCH.
I know, but just in case y'all wanted a memento from, the good times.
Bad old days.
Canon. How can I have a memento from a thing I really don't remember?
Like I said, I've seen them all too, and those were times that I had.
Yeah. And then they're not like, most of the time they're not even like fun bad. They're just kind of
It's just
they're just movies.
There's not a lot of content, but there is a bit where Bella sees Everett's ghost, and the only way she can feel any sort of energy or sexual pleasure is to throw herself into extreme headlong danger.
Extreme headlong danger.
Like when she jumps off a cliff into the ocean, like 500 feet below her.
I actually managed to avoid seeing any of those films.
Same.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
But also, you're a coward.
I didn't have a reason to go see
A
them.
bloody freaking coward.
Man, I was taken. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show before, but I was brought, and I don't remember which one. I don't remember. Whatever one was released on November 18th one year, because my friends from college were like, "Happy birthday! We're taking you to see Twilight."
That's
a shitty birthday present.
Those are shitty friends.
Like, I told it was like I was like Bob's Burgers. I was just like, look, I'm going to complain the whole time, and I did. It was great.
Well, do you know what else was great?
Spaghetti.
Yes, I love spaghetti. It's a good
Particularly
time.
Mom spaghetti.
And in fact, this episode of Cajun Greatness, we're talking about spaghetti.
Yes.
Welcome to the Sketty Cast.
But are we going to talk about spaghetti or the Tim and Eric short, the spaghetti?
No, I try not to ever talk about Tim and Eric.
Someone touched my spaghetti.
Is that where the spaghetti thing came from? Because somebody at work says it all the time.
Spaghetti.
Don't touch my spaghetti.
Well, there's the Tim and Eric bit, and then there's like a clip from like an old ass cartoon of someone touching my spaghetti.
Okay.
I always liked Paschetti, the bit from What We Do in the Shadows. That's a lot more enjoyable.
That's what my mom would call it.
Scary.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to Cajun Greatness, the show where we talk about the movies of Nicolas Cage 47.325% of the time. And today we are bumping that number up a bit because we are talking about The Death of Superman Lives, a documentary that does feature archival footage of Nicolas Cage. Therefore, we declare it close enough.
Yeah, it's a movie he was almost in.
And of course, as always, I'm here with my estimable co-host and a special guest. To my right is JoJo.
Hi, I'm here to bring the spaghetti.
God damn it! It's already started.
There's a fucking Yannick spider in this movie.
There is.
Yeah.
Did you think we weren't going to talk about spaghetti?
I foolishly hoped.
Spaghetti came out before the introductions.
Oh, you think okay?
I got to strike when the iron's hot. Strike fast, Cobra Kai, do or die.
To JoJo's right is Cannon.
My hair is magnificent, and I have been in 500, and I repeat, exactly 500 street fights.
No more, no less.
To Cannon's right is Pat.
Hello there, it's Power Pat.
And to Pat's right is our special guest, Emilio.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Emilio's back!
Yay! Whoa! Welcome back.
Fucking go.
And I, of course, am your other host, Shimmy, and I know what I'm talking about when I discuss Superman, unlike 98% of the people in this goddamn documentary.
Well, see,
yeah,
obviously that is your great moral failing, because what I thought was a great point that they made in the movie is that a lot of time with the comic movies, people can be too reverent and too slavish in their appreciation of a product, and therefore that makes it worse.
Inherently.
Yeah. Everyone,
but Spaducci though, that's A-okay. That's good to go.
everyone that was on camera in this fucking thing that wasn't named Nicolas Cage or Kevin Smith, and maybe like two of the artists, were so far up their own asses that I couldn't hear them because it was just muffled. John Peters might be the worst human being I've ever seen on screen.
But goddamn, was he not entertaining?
And you know what? This just cements my hatred of Tim Burton as a person, too. God damn it. I hate them. So let's do that thing where we go around the table.
Sorry.
And in case you didn't know, we were talking about The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, a documentary on the What If Tim Burton Superman movie that didn't happen. And I feel like it's probably for the best. Jojo, what did you give the documentary in terms of a rating? Which is going to be weird because this is kind of a weird thing to rate. But you know, fuck it, we're going to do it anyway.
Well, I mean, there are certain like documentaries that like Werner Herzog documentaries I could easily give a rating to.
I want to see the Superman.
If Werner Herzog,
but cool Doc universe and in Superman's eyes. But I was actually kind of following the director when this movie was being made. Like he was part of I think AMC Movie Talk, and then that turned into Collider, and then it became a clusterfuck. But as far as like the documentary, it started, and I'm like, okay, this is a little amateurish, but this is crowdfunded movie. I get that. But as the documentary went along, and how it was really well paced, and I just kept getting sucked in to the like. There was not really a lot of like quippy banter with this one, because at least for me, I was just sort of zoned in with the story, and whoo boy, there were some interesting characters. This movie kind of like, it made me like Tim Burton more and hate Tim Burton more. The John Peters guy, I only knew him as the guy who just wanted the giant fucking spider. He is the absolute villain of this movie. Hands down. Full stop. But, sort of like production or just like budgetary limitations aside, like it was just a really well-paced, well-told story. And I gave it 3.5 stars.
Nice. Cannon, what did you think?
It had been quite some time. I believe I was still living in Mississippi the last time I saw this documentary. But I remember always enjoying it. And now I regret not picking it up when it was easily available on Blu-ray. Because Jesus Christ, I went all over town today looking for it just to be like, you know what, like I'm on a treasure hunt. It would be fucking sick if I found it, right? But of course I didn't. And Shimmy mentioned this off the pod earlier. The highest, there's only 2 copies, and one of them's going for like $200 signed by the director.
Yeah, who has since passed away.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. But this is a very interesting documentary to me. I had heard of the John Peters story through Kevin Smith, through his first Evening with Kevin Smith special years ago, and I was just like, wow, this dude is bananas. And oh my God, we got to see the man live, well, not live, but in living color just full blown. How is this man also Steven Seagal? Is he Steven Seagal?
Like literally, that was part of my review, which we'll get to.
Really? Yeah. Shit. But and
does
like,
Aikido like Steven Seagal probably.
it's like the different like ways that the documentary tells you and shows you like bits of movie or like bits of the script that happen. Well, that were written but didn't happen. It's like some of them are like live action, like people reenacting it. Others, it's like illustrated. It's like cartoons, and it's a mini cast of character. Well, one big character who is we will talk about. I still really enjoy this documentary. I'm giving it a 4.
Nice. Pat.
Yes, much like Ken, this was a story I was at least fairly familiar with. I'm like listening to Kevin Smith's like spoken word like years ago, but just like how like a more fleshed out version of that like story with like more complex, more points of view. It's like it's an incredibly interesting, especially from an artistic point of view, like just seeing all the different like processes and pieces of art for the production. Like I would love like a coffee table book of this movie and its production. Like I would live for that. And as for the documentary itself, like, you know, of course it is, you know, it was sort of crowdfunded, so it does have some like weaknesses in terms of its presentation. I did feel a little bit while the content was engaging, I felt like it got a little turgid at times. Like sometimes it felt like it was a little aimless. Like it kind of like there's a lot of content here and it wasn't maybe as tightly connected, but it's still an outrageous story and really helps you understand that it's a fucking miracle that any movie happens at all. Yeah. Even ones that are like tame by comparison. Like this is obviously off the wall crazy bullshit, but it seems like how does any movie ever get made? It's just all these conflicting and just nothing gets done except for the last second. But it's still a very interesting watch. I gave it 3.5 out of 5.
Nice. Emilio.
When I think of John Peters, I think cringe and ugh. Just, yeah. But again, like Cannon stated earlier, the story that Kevin Smith said, that's how I found out about it. And then when the documentary came out and was like on Showtime, I watched it, and like Cannon, I regret never getting this documentary. But yeah, pretty much echoing what everybody else has already said. And yeah, I'm going to go 3.5 as well with this. But
nice. So the first time I heard about this movie happening was Wizard Magazine.
Oh, there's a throwback.
Oh, wow.
Again, being a comic book person hasn't just been my life. Like it is who I am as a human being, for good or ill. One day I'll get a real personality, but not today. So Wizard Magazine.
Not this day.
Nah.
This day we fight.
They reported that Cage was cast, and at that point I like Nicolas Cage. I could see that.
Really?
And I still think, I know it's weird, right? Like my whole personality is like 50% comics, 40% wrestling, 10% Nicolas Cage.
you should start a Nicolas Cage podcast.
You know, that's a good idea.
Wait, hold on. You know, that'd be a great idea. Too bad we don't have one.
Right. Ugh. Somebody should get on that right now.
We'll put a pin in that.
And even then, I thought it was a bad idea. Just the Tim Burton part, because I have long said Batman Returns is my favorite Batman movie. That's not true anymore. Mm-hmm. It's now number 2, and I love Batman '89 because it's great. Like there are issues, of course, but as far as Batman goes, it's great. But like Tim Burton, I like maybe 4 of his movies that I can think of right off the top of my head: Batman Returns, Beetlejuice, and Big Fish.
Oh, fuck. I forgot he did Big Fish.
And like everything else, I'm just sort of either indifferent or actively dislike. I don't like Edward Scissorhands. I can't fucking stand Nightmare Before Christmas. I know that wasn't like a production of his, but like it's fucking close enough. I feel like he had his hand shoved up that director's ass the whole time. Like, no, make it like this.
I gotta say ditto to all of that, what you just said, as far as Tim Burton's concerned.
Yeah, he's a one-trick pony. Like, all right, give me Helena Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp, and I'll make something weird and gothic. Like, okay, cool. So I didn't like the idea of a Superman that Tim Burton did. This documentary was really well done. A lot of stuff I didn't know because I hadn't seen it before tonight. We had to, and for anyone listening who wants to watch it, there's a rip on YouTube with French subtitles. It's the only fucking place on the internet you can find, purchase. Yeah. Like, other than that, you're just going to have to come over here. We'll fucking pantomime it for you if they take that video down.
Okay, and Cannon gets to play John Peters.
Not Kevin Smith, really?
I mean, look, there was only 5 of us. We have to do dual parts.
Okay, well, I got to start my 500 fights, starting with you.
Whichever one of us is better at flailing around aimlessly while saying nothing but still managing to talk for 30 minutes can be Tim Burton.
Also, we just need a horde of urchin children to bring into a active studio environment.
Yes.
For them
perfect.
to just like critique and like give pointers on like...
And make them taste their own blood.
But like I liked this documentary a lot. It was well done. I agree with Pat that the pacing was a bit... I thought it could have trimmed about 15 minutes. You know, it's an hour.
I could see that.
It's an hour 44. That seems a little long. Like, I didn't need the random assholes and Jimmy Palmiotti in the beginning talking about Nick Cage's Superman, which is weird. Bunch of random assholes, and then also Jimmy Palmiotti. But whatever.
But it also got Grant Morrison's floating head.
Yeah, it's always fun to see Grant Morrison, but, you know, I don't like listening to Grant Morrison because that crazy Scottish bastard is not intelligible. Like, love him to death. He's one of my favorite writers. I haven't ever read anything he's done that I didn't like.
Well, good thing he's a writer because the speaker is it's kind of hard to parse through.
Yeah, no, he is super duper Scottish. But like that first 10 minutes, yeah, you can cut that without any real issue at all. But yeah, that's just a slight nitpick. Overall, I gave the documentary itself 4 stars. The people in the documentary, fuck all of you not named Kevin Smith and Nick Cage. Because everybody else, except for like 2 of the artists, the one they got from comic books, a guy whose name I can't remember, and then Liam Sharp, who I'm weirdly defending despite hating his artwork. Like, yeah, like they're fine. Everybody else, it's like, no, I don't know the comics. I just, Superman's dumb. Like, fuck you.
That's something I find so strange is that, well, like, Peter was just like so gung-ho to do this project, but like, is really just sort of antithetical to everything Superman's about. Like, what made you want to do this story?
And the way Kevin Smith tells it in his Evening With special, like John Peters didn't even know that Superman's Kryptonian name was Kal-El. And like he goes over it briefly, like, yeah, he didn't want the tights, he didn't want him to fly around, and he wanted a giant spider. And John Peters refutes everything except the tights and the flying around. I think that's because he's gotten so much shit since then. Why would Kevin Smith lie about those 2 things? Those are ridiculous things. And of course, someone as out of touch as John Peters, like, I don't want him to have tights and I don't want him to fly. And then somehow that became Smallville. But whatever.
How many spiders were in Smallville?
You know, I don't remember that many.
No spiders.
No.
But
I watched that.
I mean, this is also the man who said he was a street fighter.
Yep.
And he had 500 fights.
Does he have
Exactly.
does he have a combat dossier, like a little black book?
It's just like... And Tim Burton doesn't know a fucking thing about comic books. John Peters doesn't know a fucking thing about comic books. And they're like, oh, we don't want comic book guys to make this movie. Like, you don't want the people who are making the thing that's successful in the first place to help you make your adaptation successful?
Strange concept, right?
Weird.
Yeah.
So fucking weird.
Because Warner Brothers in the late 90s, until a certain movie came out, they were not making very good decisions.
It's just it's baffling to me because a lot of that still exists. Look at fucking Zack Snyder. That's right, Snyder fanboys. Fuck you. He sucks. And you know, I feel bad because Henry Cavill would be a great Superman in a better movie. Mm-hmm. Nick Cage would be a fun Superman in him. And throughout the movie, you see clips of him talking about like, I would have done something new and different with Superman. You know what? That's fine. He wants to do that. That for him, I understand because he understands Superman to begin with. He wants to do something different. I mean, this motherfucker bought Action Comics #1 like 3 times, so he clearly knows what he's doing.
He definitely is a genuine fan. So I'd be interested in seeing what perspective he could bring to it.
Yeah, but like Tim Burton doesn't care.
And honestly, this is. I'm kind of the same boat as you. Like I've never sort of been a fan of Tim Burton's style or aesthetic. I can appreciate his themes, what he's going for, stuff like that. But like his movies never gravitated to me, despite really thinking they should. But I just think Tim Burton is just a bad fit for Superman.
Yeah,
A very bad fit for Superman.
He was talking about making Superman like I was just writing myself in the role of Superman. That's how it fucking sounded. Like, here's what I would be like if I were Superman. Well, you're fucking not.
I mean, you saw that little picture that I'm assuming he drew. It was basically Edward Scissorhands with a weird S and a cape.
Yeah.
I mean, they called him Edward Superman.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
yeah, you're right. Fuck. Shit.
Like, Superman is my favorite comic book character. I love Superman. I've written essays about Superman. And not just Superman at Earth's End, like actual good Superman.
oh, you're a fan of Superman other than that story?
Yes, actually, weirdly enough. And everyone's like, well, Superman, you can't write a good story about him because he's just like, he's all powerful and stuff. That's not the point. The super's not the important part, goddammit. It's the man. And it's like, well, he should feel like an outsider, like an alien. He's supposed to represent the best of us. The best film Superman we've gotten since Christopher Reeve was the Russell Crowe narrated trailer for Man of Steel. Not the movie. Movie was not great. But the trailer was so perfect.
Are we going to go there tonight?
We'll have a Superman discussion right next to the wheel with the Batman discussion.
We can call it truce on this one. You like the movie. I don't like the movie. That's fine. We both have legitimate pros and cons.
Hey, what if
That's
you're
fine.
both wrong? Who knows?
We can agree that Batman v Superman was shit.
Yeah.
There's still a lot I like about that movie. I can watch that over Whedon League any day of the week.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that movie's a dumpster fire.
There are about 12 minutes in the Joss Whedon version that I liked.
Yeah.
And they were all Superman related.
Yeah.
And the extended
This is
cut
true.
of Batman
Same.
versus Superman did fill in a lot of holes.
Well, the thing is, like, with the extended cut of Batman v Superman, yes, it filled some plot holes, but it's still Batman
I
v
still haven't
Superman.
seen that version.
the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah,
or
still
what?
It's
haven't
just-
seen that one.
It's still just okay. I'm not a fan.
I know.
But
Like whenever it's on when we're waiting on Dynamite, I can visibly see the vein, and then the vein says, "Turn it off."
It's Jimmy. It is 5 minutes before the end of Dynamite. It's fine.
Look, I'm just saying. Like, everyone involved with the movie that isn't Zack Snyder and David Goyer, I appreciate. I don't think that Amy Adams is a good Lois Lane. I think she's okay, but it's not what I would have picked.
I liked her as Lois Lane.
She's fine. It just felt like she was Amy
compared to
Adams.
what we got. She's probably the
It
best.
wasn't Kate Bosworth.
I will say, taken side by side, I do prefer Man of Steel to Superman Returns.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I'd say that.
I mean,
yeah,
at least-
that's solid.
at least I can remember Man of Steel, and I saw Superman Returns.
Now
I don't remember.
there's a
goddamn thing.
lot about Superman Returns I like. Kevin Spacey, back when we thought he was a decent human being and not a rapist / killer, he's a great Lex Luthor. And I think he would have been a good Lex Luthor in a serious version of Lex Luthor as opposed to a Gene Hackman impersonation. I genuinely like Brandon Routh as an actor and a person. He seems cool as hell, and I'm glad he got to do the Kingdom Come Superman stuff.
Yes.
And sort of like redeem himself.
Yes.
Because they gave him nothing to do in that movie.
But Kate Bosworth was terrible. Kate Bosworth was dog shit.
And how come James Marsden has it somewhere in his contract that he has to be involved in love triangles in movies? I have it at 3 with this one.
Well, I mean,
Multiple if you count all the X-Men movies.
well, he left X-Men to go with Bryan Singer to do Superman Returns. That's why Gene just dusted him, which led to my favorite Sonic meme where Marsden and Sonic are sitting in that canoe and Gene killed me right over there.
That's a good bit.
I fucking love that meme, right? The point about it was I would be very interested to see Nicolas Cage's interpretation of Superman. But a lot of studios and a lot of writers that aren't involved in the world of comics, and a lot of them that are involved in the world of comics, looking at you, Scott Snyder, they miss the point of Superman. The point of Superman is that he's supposed to be the best of us. You know, like, yeah, you're like, well, we're going to make him sad and nervous and like super anxiety ridden, but that's not accurate. Superman's just a Midwestern farm boy. Superman does the right thing because it's the right thing to do. It doesn't need to get any deeper than that. Because there's not a lot of other characters like that anymore. Everybody's fucking Deadpool or Rob Liefeld Cable with guns and pouches. Fuck you.
Everybody
fuck,
has
we're
just
back in the
terribly
90s
drawn
now.
feet for some reason.
And so, that's my rant about Superman for now.
Yeah. Well, and I can sort of get behind wanting to do something different, all that, but like even sort of the quote like good ideas they were coming up with, and especially thinking about this coming out like 98.
Mm-hmm.
Almost coming out in 98.
Almost coming out in 98. Yeah, that wouldn't have worked. Just the amount of effort they put into that actual suit, I'm just like, Jesus.
I mean,
Christ.
God, how much money did those people alone throw at the suits?
Just for the testing.
Jesus Christ.
To me, that's one of the most heartbreaking things. Like,
Yeah.
the people who are just, like, literally putting the suit together and just, like, all that effort's gone. And, like, I really like... I mean, I know this is a very far and left field, but I really like the very whimsical concept they came up with. Like, you see, like, the glowing, like, circulatory system within the suit. Like, there's a lot of really creative ideas, and, like, I'm definitely a big proponent of, like, taking, like, risk with an established thing. Like, Superman's been around for, like, almost 100 years. Like, you can afford to do something really different with it. But I know in a studio space, they want sure things. So, like, I can understand them wanting something, like, more traditional. But, like, I'm not really, like, married to any sort of, like, vision for, like, Tim Burton. But I feel like I at least really appreciate he wanted to do something different. And I know that's really hard to do when he has, like, such a, like, mythologized character like Superman, where everybody has a very concrete vision of what he is. And letting one person make this massive attempt at showing their version of it is going to put people off no matter what. Yeah, but I appreciate when people try.
Well, see, like, and the designs look cool. Like, that's my overall issue with the entire production of this isn't how it looked. Like, yeah, fuck it, make it weird. You know, that's fun. My issue was the character of Superman himself.
Yeah.
And the idea that he didn't know he was an alien until Luther found a fucking spaceship on the Kent farm for some reason. That's dumb. Like, he's starting to fly at 12.
Yeah, but which draft was that at that point? Was that the third?
I think it was like third or fourth or 12th. Who the fuck knows?
Honestly, that was probably like the third writer because there was Kevin Smith, another guy, and then the final guy.
That final guy,
guy got on my nerves.
That final guy was an asshole.
He was that little, like, scrawny, white-headed dude.
Yeah.
Kind of look like Doug Jones.
Yeah.
Wait, is it? I was about to say, you reminded me of that weird ice cream man from Legion. Is that Doug Jones?
I
might not be.
think
Possibly.
it is.
You know what? Let's
Abe
look it up.
Sapien from Hellboy.
Yeah.
And also, he's the motion capture for Silver Surfer.
Yep.
Yes, that's him.
And he was the original voice for Silver Surfer. And in the first previews that released for Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, you could hear his voice, which was ethereal and light and fucking perfect. And then they got Morpheus, which I was furious about then. I'm furious now. Doug Jones was perfect. He sounded like you expect Silver Surfer to sound. And then all of a sudden, it's goddamn Lawrence Fishburne. I was like, stop it. Just stop it.
And yes, getting the Ice Cream Man was Doug Jones.
Oh, that's cool.
He was also the fish man that Sally Hawkins fucked in Shape of Water.
Well, if you have Del Toro and there's a fish man, he's going to call Doug Jones.
Well, he was also the Pale Man in Pan's Labyrinth.
I mean, you get GTD to do a movie, Doug Jones is going to be like,
but that's the problem, getting him to do.
I just meant because like Abe Sapien, Fishman, like Doug Jones likes to play Fishman.
like Tim Burton, like a lot of directors have like their pals come on and do like a movie, like the Coen brothers. They always have like
everyone has their muse, like that one girl on Uncut Gems.
How that guy kind of looks like him, and it's just spiraled into this whole conversation about Doug Jones.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you want to know the thing that I find most ironic, going back to the Superman Lives, about them adapting Death of Superman, of course, all of which, none of them fucking read it. They admitted as much. The ironic thing about that was Death of Superman was done to show that Superman, with, his quote unquote old timey morals and beliefs. Like Superman as a character was important to modern day. So they killed him and replaced him with 4 other versions. There's Superboy, Connor Kent, who's great. He was like the cool 90s dude. There was Steel, who is Shaquille O'Neal.
Which came up here during this documentary.
There was the Cyborg version, which was an old villain pretending to be Superman who blew up Coast City and caused Hal Jordan to lose his fucking mind and become Parallax and then become dead and then become the Spectre. And now he's back and everything's fine. And then there was the Eradicator, which was supposed to be like the brutal 90s version who killed people. Like, I have Bono sunglasses and fuck you energy. Yeah. And like that was just a Kryptonian relic. But the point of Death of Superman entirely was to show that Superman as a character was important. And so they're adapting Death of Superman and fucking with the character.
Yeah.
And it's just, I like my eyes twitching.
It's like, and all of those characters that you mentioned were in Kevin Smith's draft of the script. Mm-hmm. And like everything he said, I was just like, wow, you know what? Maybe he was the fucking choice. But he was the Clerks guy. Don't let the Clerks guy do it. What the fuck?
Smith does another bit in one of his evenings about Tim Burton, how Burton did Planet of the Apes, which was also terrible. And it ended with, spoiler alert, the Lincoln Memorial with an ape head on it. Which was out of a comic book that Kevin Smith did, like one of Kirk's tie-in comic. And so he did an interview with a guy he knew from the newspaper. Like, I think Tim Burton ripped off our story beat, tee-hee-hee. And it was reprinted without the tee-hee-hee. And Tim Burton got pissed. And so, like, anyone who knows me knows that I would never read a comic book, especially not one by Kevin Smith. And Kevin Smith's response, well, that explains fucking Batman, which is great. It's a great line.
Bid. Yeah.
So, Tim Burton just doesn't stop it.
Now, like,
he does seem like an insufferable twat. I will, like you talking about the man just saying a whole bunch of nothing. Holy shit, was that true? He just sort of gesticulated, and at one point they just kind of animate his like movements, and he just, and at the end of it, it's just like, well, what the fuck? Point of that was that.
And the weird thing, every person, and I don't remember like particularly who, but every person that I've seen like parody or like make fun of Tim Burton does that hand gesture, and oh my god, the man really does it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's weird. I mean, that's just a Burtonism, I suppose. Fucking,
I can't recall a single thing he actually said. I keep flashing back, and it just ums, ers, and ahs, and you knows.
And I mean, everyone, especially if they're not used to public speaking or someone who's like really kind of weird and awkward, there's going to be a lot of vocal fillers. But, whew, man, this man said, hold my beer. I'm about to take this to another level.
I'm actually kind of surprised they got him to be in this thing.
I thought the same thing the first time I watched it.
That was surprising.
Yeah, because, I mean, I echo the sentiment. I am not the biggest Tim Burton fan either. However, I do like a handful of his movies. I do like Edward Scissorhands. Sleepy Hollow, I dig.
I forgot. Yes, thank you. Sleepy Hollow is good. I do like that.
Mars Attacks. I fucking love Mars Attacks.
I'm pretty okay on Mars Attacks.
What else? I know I'm missing some. I mean, Ed of course, Wood. I love the 2 Batman movies. I've never seen Ed Wood, actually.
Me either.
It's okay.
And I'm sure there's other stuff by him I haven't seen. I was never real big on the whole Nightmare Before Christmas shtick or any of that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like I appreciate what he's trying to do. I appreciate in sort of in an abstract his aesthetic.
Pee-wee.
Pee-wee.
Yeah.
It just does. It didn't really click with me, even though like I definitely felt like an outsider as a kid, and it's like anyone can relate to that. But it was something about his aesthetic just kind of was off-putting.
Yeah, like when you see a Tim Burton movie, you're watching a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah. And like he made decent points about things like we all feel like outsiders and none of us feel like comfortable in our own skin, like that, and that's fine. That's true. And that has applied to Superman before. But that's not his only personality trait. Like that's an outlier for Superman. Like, he has trouble sitting there feeling like he fits in because at the same time he's a farm boy from Kansas, he's also an alien. But he overcomes that to be the best person he can be. Like,
And there's something about sad boy Superman that's just kind of off-putting.
It's really not fun.
Especially like in the Snyderverse.
Well, that's to me in the original movies. Like that's what Pa Kent was there for, is to, quit being sad. I mean, you're made for something greater than this, So,
and I think one of Superman's strength is that he is a very positive, life-affirming character. I mean, you have people who are that you allow them to be like the sort of the darker reflection of people's like feelings and insecurities, and not to say that Superman is like this infallible character, and I think like that's people construe that as a weakness of his like concept, but like I think that's one of the strong things, that he is a very positive, like engaging character, and brings a lot of hope, and there is a way you can make that compelling, and people have done it several times in his history.
Yeah,
you just have to be a good writer.
Yeah, because I've made the jokes. My family sucked. I was very sad as a child. Yes, I was. It's very true. And so I always liked and gravitated towards Batman, whom I love. When Batman's written well, Batman's great. But I noticed as I started getting older that I really appreciated when Batman was portrayed as a human with feelings and who cared about people, as opposed to grumpy shadows, I am the vengeance and I've always been alone. Ignore the 4 Robins, 2 spoilers, 3 Huntresses, 5 Alfreds. Just ignore them. I'm alone.
Yeah, but that's what, of course they're alone, because all of them died.
Has anyone watched the animated Injustice movie?
I have not.
Oh, no, I'm good.
No, you want to talk about Batman being human?
Yeah.
That movie right there, I teared up.
Is that on HBO Max by chance?
Yeah, that is.
There's a lot I need to catch up on.
I keep forgetting they all that includes the fucking a lot of the animated stuff, and if you haven't seen Batman Under the Red Hood, the animated movie, it's fucking good. I like
Jensen Ackles is an excellent Red Hood voice, and apparently he's working on a CW something for DC. Yeah, right. That should be good. But there's an issue of Batman from the late '80s. And I need to find it because it's one of my favorites. I haven't read it in a long time, but it's several people see Batman throughout a night, and they all tell different stories. One is he's cornering this guy in a gas station who tried to rob it. He's like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to break every bone in your body and make you wish for death, to try and scare him straight. And another one, he's like an avenging angel of, you hurt this lady, I'm going to punch you in the face. And then in another one, he finds these 2 orphan kids living under a bridge, and the cop who finds him was like, he actually cried. He looked really sad about these 2 orphan kids. And then the end of the book, it shows Wayne Manor, and Bruce is standing in a doorway, and those 2 kids are in Wayne Manor, he's housing them. And Alfred's like, yeah, you did a good job, Master Wayne. Because Bruce cared. Mark Waid put it best in Kingdom Come. When you strip everything else away from Batman, you're left with someone who doesn't want to see anybody else die. And that sort of hopefulness is what I gravitated towards the most with Batman, and then that was even more so found in Superman, because I always felt more like Batman, but goddamn it, I want to be more like Superman.
Yeah.
Brava.
That's good. That's good. I loved every bit of that.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Amelia, I wanted to get your opinion because you are our guest, and we did want to give you your
fuck, Emilio, you're here.
Yeah, I know.
your chance to speak. And
are you wearing a Superman shirt, Emilio?
I actually am. Yes.
Oh my god!
I think he might be a fan.
That one's actually based off of Superman's cape.
Yeah,
because he and I had a discussion how fucking weird it is.
Are you wearing it backwards?
No, it's actually just a red shirt with the yellow S.
It's weird.
Even though the yellow S.
Have you seen my keychain thing?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've had this Superman keychain thing since high school.
Man, that looks like it could fuck somebody up.
Yeah, I was about to say
It looks like it honestly looks like a hood ornament.
This is not light.
I don't believe that.
because
Mine's sharp. A little bit.
Because whenever Jimmy's in trouble, he just takes it off and throws it like in that
aluminum foil one.
No, like John Peter's cape that beheads somebody, comes back to
the Spawn cape.
Let's let Emilio talk.
We'll come back to Doctor Strange Superman cape. I did want to get your opinion, because obviously you've been around, so he's very clearly a Superman fan. I want to find out what drew you to this character, And I feel like just like your experience with him, and like what is one of your favorite interpretations of the character?
Favorite interpretation of Christopher Reeve. That's what I grew up with. Ever since I was a little kid, always liked Superman. The colors got me. It was like him and Spider-Man, basically, the red and blue. I was just always drawn to that. But Superman was the first thing that I remember, the Christopher Reeve stuff especially. I mean, to this day, I still have a little baby shoe from when I was a baby that my grandmother saved, and it's little baby Superman on it. It's red, white, and blue, little baby Superman on it. But yeah, I've always liked it. What specifically drew me to him? It was just those Christopher Reeve movies. I mean, he was a good guy. He was different, sure, but it was just, he has all this power, but he also doesn't have to use that. You know, it helps, of course, but him not using it, I guess, is what makes him better, I guess, you know, to help inspire people. And yeah, I mean, what specific thing though? I don't know what. It was just always, he was always there. I always watched it and loved it. And I think the first one I remember watching was probably Superman 3 with Richard Pryor. One of the worst ones, of course.
I'm sure like not without its charm for some folks.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just
It's not Quest for Peace.
right. I mean, I like Quest for Peace. Shut up, you know. It's like, but no, I mean, it was just since I was a little kid, the cape, probably, you know, flying around. It was just he could do all these awesome things, and he was a straight up good guy. He was the Boy Scout, as he's called, and just always drawn to that because I always wanted to be like a good guy. I'm not perfect, I know that, but it's like I want to be better.
Yeah, always strive to be a better person.
And that's what Superman was sent here for. That's what Jor-El tells him. You're going to lead them. You're going to help them. You know, they're going to follow you. And also, yeah.
And it's something that I'm calling to mind now is that why I think it's nice to have like a time where there are more positive versions of Superman, because like there is a I guess an inclination to make a darker version, and which that's not necessarily wrong, but I think what makes Superman so compelling, and so I think the interesting part is that he has, you know, literal godlike powers, but still every day he chooses to do good things with them, to do right, because that obviously is the harder choice to make when you have just phenomenal power and you choose to, you know, do, you know, the good job to help people. It's the easy choice to fuck up and like blow stuff up with lasers and like zip around. Like that's the easy choice. It's easy to be corrupted by power. It's so much harder to wield that in a safe way, which is why one of my favorite moments of Superman is at the finale of the Justice League cartoon, where he lets loose on Darkseid, like his world of cardboard speaks. Like every single moment you've ever seen Superman, like he's always consciously holding back, and then for that one moment he's like, I'm gonna fuck up, and just like I feel like that's when a switch went off in my head about Superman. I was like, oh shit, this is what he's capable of, but he always chooses another path.
Yeah. If you like that one, you should check out. It should be on HBO Max. It's Superman versus the Elite.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was based off of Superman 700 with Manchester Black.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Which I fucking love that one. The story, I love the animated bit because it's these angrier heroes who aren't afraid to kill people to keep criminals in line. So Superman has to deal with them, and at the end, he I'm not going to spoil it. But he obviously wins because he's Superman, and he gives a speech. It's one of my favorite things from any comic book. And he says, dreams save us. Dreams lift us up and transform us. And on my soul, I swear until my dream of a world where dignity, honor, and justice become the reality we all share, I'll never stop fighting, ever. That's Superman. Mm-hmm. And Grant Morrison, the crazy Scottish bastard, who is in fact a wizard.
No, I believe it.
And who hates Alan Moore, says he's a fake wizard.
A wizard fight.
Though they've been having a wizard fight for like 30 years now. It's the best. the way he put it was, somewhere in our darkest night, we made up the story of a man who will never let us down. That's Superman. And my favorite author, Mark Waid, he said it didn't matter that he wasn't real. What matters was that he cared about everyone in the world without exception, without judgment. That's Superman's supposed to be the best of us.
Yeah.
Not Tim Burton in a fucking cape.
And I think there's been so many different facsimiles of Superman over the years, but I think one of my favorite alternative versions, and I guess in spirit of the character, is All Might from My Hero Academia. But very, very clearly the Superman analog for that setting, and I feel like there's a really great understanding of what makes that character inside of this anime, and plus it's a very similar like old school version of Superman where he's enormously strong, and also he can't fly, he just jumps really high, just like the most exaggerated physical capability. And I feel like that's a really great sort of successor to the spirit of Superman in another medium, in another country, just like to show how universal this concept is.
I love Jumpy Superman. Those Max Fleischer cartoons are all on YouTube, by the way.
And those cartoons came out in the 50s and 40s, but they were so gorgeously fluidly animated.
They're fantastic.
They still hold up.
The first one I saw was where he's getting hit with a laser and he starts punching the laser beam away.
Yes.
And when I was a kid, I would punch my shower away like that, pretend I was Superman. And then when I was an adult, I still fucking do. I did it this morning. I don't give a shit.
So we're gonna do a bit where we just take a fire hose, it shimmy, and you got to punch it back, and then tie it in a knot.
So you don't think every one of my showers doesn't turn into a goddamn R&B music video in there? Every time, just.
Now, my go-to was always from Superman 3, where he puts his palm out to block the beam from the scary robot lady. Yeah, that was always my go-to.
Oh god, that fucking robot lady fucked me up as a kid.
I don't think she didn't
scared
fuck up
about
anybody. I mean, everybody that I've ever talked to is always like, "Oh god, the robot lady."
When she it's all
right?
Yeah.
Oh god, that scared the fuck out of me.
she gets all circuited up, and then her eyeballs open and they're just silver.
Yeah, 'cause
I was I ran.
Up till then, it was mad scientist Richard Pryor, evil Superman Clark Kent, giant evil horrible robot lady who's gonna flay you alive. Holy shit! What a fucking tonal shift.
Yeah.
Would be a great idea for a future episode: movies that fucked us up as children.
Oh man, I got many.
I've got such a list.
God, there was one that was mentioned in this movie that fucked me up, and I done forgot it.
It's probably one of the 48 things that Tim Burton was talking about that wasn't comic books.
However, there was a snippet of and goddamn, was it Kings of New York or something? It's like a Christopher Walken movie. They showed just a bit from it, and it's just him blasting a dude away with a gun. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
That was Kings of New York, yeah. And then the one before that where he sets a body on fire was The Prophecy, which is one of my favorite movies.
Now, you see, that looked cool, and I was like, I need to figure out what that is.
The Prophecy. I have he was in the first 3. They've done 5. The last 2 were shit. Number 3 wasn't that good. But he was in it, so it was fun. The first one, I fucking love the first one. It's him. It's Elias Koteas, who played Casey Jones in the Turtles movies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he was also the weird, bald, bad guy in Mark Wahlberg's Shooter.
I have not seen Shooter in so long.
Anyway, Elias Koteas, he's great. But no, The Prophecy. I have those DVDs. You're welcome to borrow them.
Oh, yeah,
you bring up Christopher Walken reminded me it's fucking Sleepy Hollow. Him and Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
Because that movie came out when I was 5 years old, so I was just
I think I've mentioned this a few times. I was a weenie fucking baby when I was a kid. Everything scared me, just everything.
Same.
Yet I somehow feel and I think I could pinpoint this to Sleepy Hollow, is when the turn happened. Because there's so many people getting de-headed, just blood and guts fucking everywhere in that movie, right? And still, I'm just wait a minute, this shit used to freak me out. What's happening?
I love the bit. If you could see Dumbledore get his head chopped off in that fucking movie, but didn't Christopher Walken with sharp teeth, fuck that.
And you know who was
that was me.
You know who the Headless Horseman was when it wasn't Walken's face on it?
It was Ray Park.
It was Ray Park.
He played Darth Maul.
It was the Toad.
And the Toad, yes. And Ray Park busted his ass to get an Iron Fist movie made. He desperately wanted to do that, and they were gonna. It just never happened. He would have been a great Iron Fist.
I think so.
He already knew how to fight.
Yeah.
Not throwing any Netflix shade.
Don't worry, they're not there anymore.
They're on Disney
Shade now.
Plus. Yeah.
Those shows that used to tell us people to watch all the time. Don't watch these.
I think that kind of reminds me of like just other insane little bits. How like Superman's got to stop this stuff being Selma Luthor. Also, suddenly the ninjas attack.
Oh gosh.
Polar bears.
Yeah, fucking ninjas. I am still befuddled. Ninjas.
The one that fucked me up was the polar bears. Just because he was just like, we gotta have a fight, do something.
Well, JoJo, don't you know about polar bears?
They're one of the most vicious animals on the
animal kingdom. Yeah.
Which he said that about 3 different animals in this movie.
I like how John Peters kept talking shit about Kevin Smith. Like, I didn't say that, and then goes on to say exactly that.
Yeah. Because
I didn't say that, and then basically just lies through his teeth.
But basically, it's just like the old bit from the Chappelle Show. It's like when Rick James is like, I didn't say that. Yeah, I did that.
I do not like this man at all, yet I want to either see a movie about him or read a book about him.
We're talking about John Peters.
Yeah, John Peters.
Yeah.
John Peters, yes.
Because this man started out as like what?
A hairdresser.
For Barbara Streisand, and then he just kind of failed upward.
Uh-huh.
But where did the street fights come in? Was this before or after? Or during?
I think that was probably all the 300 to 700 fans who wanted refunds for Wild Wild West.
Okay, but so listen here. That was I thought was the funniest goddamn thing when the WB. I don't know, this Tim Burton Superman is too wacky, it's too cost ineffective. I don't think we should do it. Also, WB, y'all want a crazy ass Western with a giant robot spider? Here's all the money. God. And then it bombs.
I mean, at that point, I get it for that one because that was the height of Will Smith-mania. Like, Will Smith had just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. That was right after Men in Black. That was right after Independence Day. Like, Will Smith doing a Western comedy, at the time, everyone's like, that feels like can't miss. And then it fucking whiffed so goddamn hard. Now, I do enjoy watching this movie, Wild Wild West.
I had it on VHS when I was a kid.
I enjoy the theme song. I have the theme song on my phone.
Fucking slaps.
I like Kevin Kline as an actor. I thought he was fun in this. Yeah. Both as Artemis and as President Grant.
Yeah.
And as Artemis as President Grant. It was fun.
Yeah, like that movie may have sucked, but those two together in the movie were fun.
I definitely hope that we land on that movie when we do the wheel.
My favorite bit of Wild Wild West was Cartman doing it on South Park. That was it.
That was funny.
God, Warner Brothers made some questionable choices in the 90s, didn't they?
Shakespearean director / actor / auteur Kenneth Branagh is like, I'm going to be a Southern villain.
Who's also a half a man in a robot spider chair.
Which Kenneth Branagh to me seems like you get Shakespeare in front of him, he kills it. Anything else?
Roll the dice.
I mean, I kind of defend the first Thor movie, but
I think it got unfairly shit on in a lot of ways.
I do agree with it. Like, it's not great, but it's also like people act like that's the worst MCU movie.
That was the second Thor.
I'm like,
wait, the first Thor they think is the worst?
Yeah.
Get fucked. No way.
I've heard people have that take.
No, it's ridiculous.
Y'all are just wrong.
Iron Man 2 is clearly the worst.
Iron Man 3
is bad.
Iron Man 3 is not good.
No. Thor: The Dark World.
I was going to say, Thor: The Dark World honestly might be my least favorite Marvel. I haven't seen him. I still haven't seen him.
A lot, and very similar to Wild Wild West, I like Thor: The Dark World for the interactions between Thor and Loki, and everything else just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
They wasted Christopher Eccleston, who is a tremendous actor. They put him behind shitty prosthetics with a different language, and then he just sort of stood there, and I hate that. But there's a lot to like in that movie too, honestly.
Well, on Thor, I do think it's funny. Like when Nick Cage was in the Superman test, like he was kind of giving me like Tom Hiddleston as Loki vibes. It's like the long dark hair. It was like I kind of like that look. Like I think that'd be an interesting perspective, like because Superman had longish hair back in that era of the comic, and I thought that's a nice look.
Yeah, but the thing, that's what another thing that kills me. We talked. It was mentioned by Shimmy earlier that people hadn't fucking read the books at all, and he's sitting there with that wig, and he has that wig on so they can cut it down eventually, and then you can hear Nick Cage in that footage saying, I'm kind of digging this look now. I'm kind of digging it. Shoulder length,
And
I'm
then
just
Con
like,
Air
that's
happened.
literally how it's supposed to be according to the book. But you don't want comic book people behind this fucking shit. And since we're talking about the suits, okay, I appreciate all the creativity that went behind these suits. How fucking ever. Like, this is now all the concept art, all that shit looked fucking rad and cool. But like when I started seeing like the suit, the only outfit that looked even somewhat cool on Nicolas Cage with all the test outfits was the last shot that you see with that cell phone. But even then, they bitch about him having the fucking underwear on the outside. They turn the underwear into a goddamn thong, okay?
Yeah, that costume
It's like, literally a jock strap.
Yes,
Yeah, that was a weird
exactly.
choice.
Also, why is the fucking why is the underwear such a controversy? Like, I don't understand. Like, why in the late 90s they were just like, we need fucking Superman free ball.
I think you just answered your question. It was the 90s, and like the edgy McEdgertons were like, you gotta take the fucking panties off.
because they were coming after Superman anyway for being like, oh, he's just a farm boy. He's a Boy Scout, and they picked the underwear because that's just a thing. Like, even recently, they changed the costume up in 2011, so there was no underwear. It looked weird.
Because I do remember that being a big fucking
Then
deal.
they changed it again in 2016 to where it looked a little bit better, had a belt and a couple little highlights, no underwear. And then after that, they're like, fuck it, everyone seems to hate this. We're giving him the classic suit back. Now he has the suit back.
Hey, big idea, just the underwear.
Fuck. Superman goes to Chippendales. Let's go.
Oh, and plus I loved a bit of like his suit being like almost kind of like a techno Venom, when like his robot nanny.
The shield also coming off to be blades, but the robot nanny.
You know the weirdest thing about the robot nanny? They're like, we're going to call him K, then we're going to call him Jor-El. He has a robot at the fortress. His name is Kelex.
Yep.
They just arrived at that completely independently of what was in the fucking book. And then they brought it around town and we're going to make him Jor-El. Oh, you mean like the crystal in the first fucking series? You're just copying yourself. Stop it.
I mean, this is the studio mandate. I mean, they're just going to keep recycling the stuff they're already successful for.
And like the time frame of when they were planning on making this was like what, 96, 97?
They're supposed to release in 98, July 4th, according to the board that they showed.
All right, and John Peters is just like popping. It's like at first he doesn't want the cape, doesn't want him to fly, but now all of a sudden he wants the cape to do like Spawn type shit.
Yeah,
which came out in 97, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, he probably saw Spawn and then was like, we got to do the cape, do this. We got to let it do that. And that's what like this entire movie reeks of in places. It's like, oh, this is trendy. Let's add this in here.
Well, they left the basketball shorts. Although
That was a bad decision.
I do. One thing I do think is funny, just with the passage of time, is like how many of their ideas like eventually came to pass in other media. Like how one of the versions of Brainiac is his head on spider legs, and that happened in Batman Young with Mr. Freeze. He's just like a robot head on like spider legs, and then whole thing where Brainiac and Lex Luthor fused into a super being. That's in a Justice League cartoon, even though they had like
that's from the 80s. That happened in Alan Moore's 1986. Whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow?
But it had like the weird Voldemort Professor Quirrell version, where just like his head on the back of his head.
In that one, the faceplate of the Brainiac robot clawed its way up to Luthor's head and attached itself to his face and took over his motor functions.
There was something else too.
It's fucked up.
I love the bit of just like, what if his cape killed people? And like, it was a character. It's like that's kind of what Doctor Strange is in his movies.
And am I wrong? I want to say that Tim Burton did like a spider bit with one of the like Martian heads in Mars Attacks, right? Or am I making this up?
No, I want to
I'm
say
seeing
you're
like
right.
a head
it
in a
sounds
dome
right.
crawling around.
Well, the head did end up on a poodle's body
Yeah, that happened.
in Mars Attacks.
Speaking of the Batman Beyond Mr. Freeze, before we take a break and come back, did you ever hear the original pitch for Batman Beyond's version of Mr. Freeze?
I don't think I have.
Okay, it's pretty great. They wanted it just to be one scene where Bruce Wayne, old man Bruce, goes to his refrigerator for something. He opens the freezer, and it's just Mr. Freeze's head in the freezer. And he opens it up, and you hear Freeze go, "One day, Wayne, one day I shall turn your bones to ice. I shall," and then Bruce just closes the freezer door and walks away. That was the original pitch, and I thought it was the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard.
That's awesome.
That
You
is
know
a,
what? I'm mad that didn't happen.
Yeah, for
Right?
real.
But anyway, I feel like we might have at least a little bit more to say. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
That's my cape killing you.
Oh, no.
Well, hey there, folks. Do you like mugs, t-shirts, phone cases, stickers, wall art, pillows, all sorts of fun things with fun logos? Well, if you do, head on down to tpublic.com/user/CagingGreatness for all sorts of great merchandise and support your local creators. That's us. Hooray!
Welcome back to Cajun Greatness, where we're still screaming about Tim Burton's flaily hands and John Peters being a maniac. Yeah.
I can flail too.
We're all flailing. Woo! Flaily, flail, flail.
There for a minute, I thought motherfucker was about to bust out into the Vogue.
Yeah.
Oh, are we voguing?
Very striking a pose, yeah.
Strike the pose.
You know, I like that song, actually.
Strike the Vogue.
You know, like that, like late 80s, early 90s Madonna.
Like a Prayer is still my favorite Madonna song.
Okay. Me too.
And I like that song. And then Scottish wrestling sensation Grado used it for his entrance, and I just liked it even more.
I like
That's a
the
good bit.
Rock Sugar version. Have y'all ever heard of Rock Sugar?
That's a good version.
The Rock Sugar version, where they do it with, they match it up with "You Shook Me All Night" from AC/DC.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good
stuff.
mix. Yeah.
So Superman.
Superman.
What song would Superman sing from Madonna's discography?
Like a virgin.
Yep.
He would probably do something from Evita.
Yeah.
I just caught what the fuck you just said.
Andrew
Don't cry
Lloyd
for
Webber.
me, Metropolis. The truth is I'm at the planet.
Andrew Lloyd Webber, you, sir, are a madman. I will never forgive him for Phantom 2.
which plays into my episode idea of us doing talking about lesser known sequels to widely known products.
Yeah, I like that idea.
But also, I'm kind of living for the idea of Superman having like a half mask and just like just running
I
around.
mean, that would basically be the Tim Burton
So
version.
Yeah.
they did a Batman called Batman Mask that was just Phantom of the Opera. It was part of the Elseworld series. And that was one of them. And I'm pretty sure I have it. And I will show it to you. Because they did, like, some of those Elseworld stuff in the 90s were fucking insane. There was a trio of, like, German expressionistic, like, Superman's was Metropolis, Batman's was Nosferatu.
I know that one.
Wonder Woman's was something I can't remember right now because it wasn't that good. So, like, they did a bunch of weird shit. They did Batman Frankenstein, and Phantom was one of them.
Trust me when I say
believe
this. Trust me when I say this. Y'all don't really want a Superman musical. It happened. It was not good.
There's a Superman musical.
Yeah.
I have it on
70s,
DVD.
yeah.
Yes. So-
Oh,
It wasn't as bad as the Spider-Man, but it was close.
it was close.
Y'all.
Granted, less people probably got seriously injured on the Superman one.
Yeah. The only thing that was
Turn up the
injured
dark.
was-
I feel like there should just be an in memoriam, like the Vietnam Wall of all the people that got like maimed in the course of that.
And there is something deeply interesting to me about failed Broadway shows. Or like Broadway shows that failed to be adapted to the screen. Something about that I just find absolutely hysterical.
Well, here's the
Good thing
thing.
it wasn't Cats.
Oh gosh. But here's the thing. The Superman musical was on Broadway for quite some time, and then they showed it on ABC. They made it for TV. That's the DVD that I got.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
also,
holy crap! No way.
Oh yeah, it's and it is as terrible as it sounds.
God.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking about, was it David Letterman or Conan O'Brien where they had like a version of the Spider-Man musical where it has like the most like insane versions of the Sinister Six like coming out like in throws.
I think that was Conan.
And it's like, honestly, I was kind of living for like their version of the Green Goblin. And he was really like sassy and like a really deep baritone. But the one that fucking gooped me was like, I don't know who they were supposed to be, but this just this tall, like effete black man, like painted silver with like bladed dress and like this little spinny blade contraption that was shooting sparks. I have no fucking.
That character was made for the play.
Okay.
Yeah, that was an original character.
OC, do not steal. And then like Kraven the Hunter was like this like man with like a cat, like a inflatable cat head coming out of his body. I loved how coked up it was.
I wonder if they're going to adapt that part for the Kraven movie with Aaron Taylor Johnson.
You know what? I would appreciate it.
Deleted scene. Gag reel.
Oh God. So yeah, Superman,
Spider-Man.
The death
I'm sorry,
of
what?
Superman.
No.
Batman.
Superman versus a giant spider.
Meteor Man. When are we watching that movie?
I do like Meteor Man.
When's the documentary of the making of Meteor Man?
I used to have the Meteor Man comic book.
Where they made a book?
They made a book adaptation. Yeah, they sure did.
My fucking God. I need it.
Question for the chat: what is your favorite extraneous, forgettable '90s character? The only you remember, but you still finally appreciate.
You mean across all like comic books or movies or just everything?
Well, why don't we start with like film properties?
Blank Man. I love Blank Man so goddamn much. Emilio got me a Blank Man shirt for I think it was a birthday.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I fucking love Blank
That
Man.
movie's great. I want us to watch that. At some
I
point.
also want us to watch that.
I got Dark Man.
Dark Man's good.
Sam Raimi's
I want to watch Darkman so bad.
I got the
I
trilogy.
want like a horror superhero.
It was Liam Neeson, and then Arnold Vosloo took over.
Yeah, for the last two.
Yeah.
All three are on Shudder too.
Yeah,
I got them up there.
they made Darkman comic books.
Yeah. I got at least one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was even a toy.
I'm sure there was.
Toy line.
It's like I want a toy with a tearaway face, but it's like you just feel like the rubber like tearing off.
All I'm saying, Mezco 112 Dark Man. Make it fucking happen.
Make it a 2-pack with Blank Man, and now you're talking.
No,
No, like get Blank Man and other guy,
yeah,
and then a Dark Man. I'd be so happy.
I named
God,
one of my
fucking
dogs
movie.
Other Dog
Oh, nice.
because of Blank Man. I miss that dog.
It's a crossover that no one asked for. Darkman versus Blank
I
Man.
guarantee
I'd watch the shit out of that.
I have not seen Blank Man since I was probably like fucking 12. I remember every fucking scene.
It's
God.
been about 2 years for me.
Oh, man. I'm excited.
It's been about 2 days.
30 minutes.
Jimmy was watching this on his phone the whole show.
Yeah,
David Lynch.
whenever
watch movies on your phone.
whenever I wasn't talking about Superman, I was just watching Blank Man.
It's like yeah, Superman. He's really like as he's like looking down in the corner of his eye and the phone in his hand.
What about you, JoJo? 90s forgettable something?
Forget. I mean, I'd say Jim Carrey's The Mask, but that's not forgettable.
Nah, that's a pretty iconic 90s film.
I'll let you talk about the Mask cartoon show. That's a little bit hard to remember.
And neither one of them was anything like the books.
Nope.
The comic books were brutal and violent and angry.
Yep.
Didn't stop that movie from being fucking awesome, though.
No, I love the movie was much better than the books. 100%.
I need that movie. What the fuck's wrong?
And also
I've not seen it since I was a little kid.
that time that the Mask cartoon crossed over with the Ace Ventura cartoon
Oh, yeah.
in space.
Oh, Good times.
Space Ventura?
Species.
There's a legacy sequel for you.
Emilio, what about you?
Did we say forgettable characters or
like
Or just like,
forgotten,
a smaller
enjoyable.
property that, may not be widely remembered, but you still fondly remember.
probably Quint? I can't even think of his full name, but the captain from Galaxy Quest. The cast of Galaxy Quest.
So Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, Galaxy Quest, basically. Yeah. So,
Man, I got that one up there too. Man,
I've got it at home. Yeah.
fuck yeah, I love that
I'm
movie.
surprised no one said Steel
Or Kazam.
or The Phantom.
Oh, the Phantom.
I enjoyed the Phantom.
I did too.
The Shadow was not good. I enjoyed the Phantom.
Man,
I remember when The Shadow was coming out. I was like, oh, what is this? Although, for some reason in my head, in my little kid head, I got The Shadow mixed with Spawn. But I think because they both have green eyes.
Yeah. The aesthetic was there, like as far as the cover art.
Like the Shadow could be such a good movie too. It's just that one wasn't it. And the Phantom, you know what? I liked the Phantom. It just they stuck with the source material. They made it 1930s and pulpy.
Yeah.
And people did not have it. Like they weren't
didn't understand.
enjoying it. But I like it. Billy Zane. I like Billy Zane.
Billy Zane, you were the bomb in Phantom, yo.
What is Billy Zane doing nowadays?
Being
Phantom 2,
awesome
goddamn.
somewhere.
He was in Zoolander. I know that.
Two-lander.
so probably Zoolander 2.
He was in the sixth Scorpions game movie, the fifth or sixth.
Jesus, how many scorpions?
I didn't know there were that many fucking
I will say he had a really nice rug in his head. I couldn't tell it wasn't
He was
real.
on The Boys
Oh,
as a fictional version of himself who made a movie with one of the characters.
That's awesome. I still need to watch that show.
Because I remember he was in Kingdom Hearts, the first game. He was Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, and then for some reason would not fucking come back.
he's like, you know what? When you do so good, you don't have to come back.
He's in the Back to the Future movies.
I mean, he's still working. His is not like anything super great, but he's still working.
I was about to say he's in some of those sci-fi movies like a la Sharknado type.
He was in MacGruber.
Oh,
Like the show MacGruber.
God, I'm pissed. There's a fucking, it's only overseas in the UK, but they got a fucking Sharknado collection steelbook that I need more than fucking air, and I'm pissed.
Billy Zane was also a voice in SSX Tricky.
Wow.
Hey, where's that remake?
I
Reboot.
have been saying that for years.
Didn't
I
they
fucking love.
make it though?
No, they made SSX 3, which was fine, but then they remade SSX as a concept, which was dog shit. And nobody played it. So after that, it just stopped. They did SSX
So
Tricky.
they remade it. Nobody liked it.
Right. They did SSX Tricky, which was great.
Yeah.
Then SSX 3 was more open world. You still have the same characters. You could customize them a lot more. There's a lot of good stuff in SSX 3. But then the next one, it was still the same universe, same characters. They just made it realistic, which was the exact opposite of what people liked about the SSX series. So nobody fucking played it. It's bad. I'm still angry about it.
Fun fact: at one point, Billy Zane was linked to Lex Luthor.
He would have made a good Luthor.
Man,
think so,
that would be cool.
Yeah. He'd be
Which
great.
that's
also-
another bit I wanted to get to.
So he hasn't murdered or raped people, so that's
Let's keep that at a nice 0.
You say he was also in Twin Peaks?
Yeah,
Oh, really? That's cool.
yeah, for a hot minute.
A bit I want to get to before we get out of here. A fan cast of a Superman movie. I mean, we got to see the bonkers version, or a skeleton of it. But if the Cage crew was going to make a Superman movie, not using Nicolas Cage, who would we have in its place? Or maybe using Nicolas Cage. But let's have one without no one that hasn't been Superman already is up on the table.
You know what? I mean, that's, for me at least, that's tough because Cavill he looks like Superman, and he would be a great Superman with what I feel would be a better script. And the dude on the TV show, Tyler Hoechlin,
Yeah,
he's really fucking good.
he is.
Also, he has the fattest ass of any Superman.
I'm not thrilled at the costume. I think it goes up too high on his neck. Like it looks like the shield should be a bit bigger, but like him as a character, I think is great. Like he's really good as Superman.
I love his Clark Kent.
Yeah, like he's honestly he's perfect. They're both perfect for what they're doing. Routh was good. Bring Routh back. So honestly, as far as people who haven't played Superman, I can't really think of anybody who would be better than the ones we've got standing by.
Okay, hear me out. Tom Holland. Let's go.
Tom Holland can't be everything. If we Chris Pratt this poor bastard, like it's not worth it.
Oh, okay, revise.
Although that would be
Chris
funny
Pratt.
as fuck.
Fuck you. Chris Pratt also can't be everything.
I mean,
God, I am anxious to see that Super Mario movie because it is going to be so bad. Just hearing fucking Chris Pratt coming out of fucking Mario's mouth.
Oh God, I'm not gonna see it. And I want to like Pratt. Damn it, he seems like a super likable, nice moron.
as long as he's not
On his Jesus stuff.
or homophobic.
Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, he seems like he's super nice and personable, and also fucking stupid, and just being led around with antiquated belief. Like, I don't know what he fucking believes. I don't think he even knows what he seems like an idiot, a likable, well-intentioned idiot.
And apparently gave a lot of money for like smaller countries to have like a lot of access to the COVID vaccine.
See, that's like that's
Okay, so
reminds me. It reminds me of Jericho. Honestly, Chris Jericho. Like
he definitely does give off some Jericho vibes.
a super nice, well-intentioned, affable, pleasant person who thinks they're a lot smarter than they are and makes really dumb decisions on
And
some things.
with some questionable skeletons.
I think I may have one.
All right.
Granted, I love Henry Cavill as Superman. He is my favorite Superman, and I'm going to use this as my fucking platform to say Man of Steel is my favorite Superman movie. Y'all can come at me at that cannon guy all you fucking want. I don't care. That being said, give Ryan Gosling a crack at it.
That'd be interesting.
I've been here racking my brain, and you know what? Darken the hair a little bit, give him that little curly cue. I think it'd be an interesting Clark Kent and Superman.
I could see it.
You know, I like Gosling. I honestly think he'd make a better Flash, a Wally West type Flash. I think he could play Superman really well. I think he could be a good Batman, but I think he'd be a great Flash. You know who I think would be a great Batman who never got the chance to do it though? God, what was his name? He was the bad guy in A Knight's Tale. He was the lead of Dark City.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name. I can't remember.
Rufus Sewell.
Yeah.
Rufus Sewell.
Rufus Sewell, I think, would have made a kick-ass Batman. Like, look this dude up and tell me that's not Bruce Wayne staring back at you.
Oh, yeah. I could see it.
Like, I think he would have been great. You know who I'm really glad wasn't Batman? Armie Hammer.
Yeah.
Armie
You
Hammer.
mean to tell me you wouldn't want a cannibal fetishist to be Batman?
Well, I mean, when we get to 2020 or 2030 and we're rebooting Batman yet again, and with it being darker and grittier, we got to up the ante. We got to let Batman eat people.
It's like Batman doesn't kill people, but he just take some toes to munch on. Like
That's why they're really scared. They're just scared he's going to take their toes.
it's like, oh, please, Bat, don't take my toes. Just chops him off with the batarang.
God.
And you know,
sorry.
no, after you.
I was just going to say, jumping off Cannon's point, it's like if we're going to have Superman Ryan Gosling, we got to have Superman Jake Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal, I could see being Batman.
I
had a weird one. Obviously, this would be when he was much younger.
And then Shimmy will tell you he'll be a better Batman. Go.
Okay.
I said Gosling would be a better Flash.
I'm just going from the his countenance, his visage. I'd be interested
Timothy
to see
Chalamet.
That reminds me of a bit. Timothy Chalamet as Jimmy Olsen.
Okay.
But that wasn't the bit. But my idea, crazy one, I would be interested to see what Bruce Campbell could do as Superman.
I think he'd make a better. No, I'd love Bruce Campbell as anything.
I think that'd be a funny bit. But also,
I mean, he's got the chin for Superman.
Yes,
I mean, you can fucking bust concrete with that chin. But no shade, Bruce Campbell, love you. But one thing I thought was funny when they're talking about casting Nicolas Cage is that like almost every single time they brought him up in the sort of the first pass around, it's like Nicolas Cage, wonderful actor, kind of ugly though. It's like they're like low key shitting on him.
And Michael Keaton too. It's like we got these two guys not particularly good looking, and I'm just like, fuck y'all.
Well, I mean, like they are. They're like not conventionally handsome.
Yeah,
but they're handsome.
I mean, they kind of weird looking, but I mean, you don't say that about someone.
I mean,
as I just say that about
okay, I'll argue that that Michael Keaton, people wouldn't say he looked goofy if it wasn't for the hairstyle he had in probably Batman '89. Now, and granted, I'm not with that fucking review on Letterboxd. I'm sorry, I'm still mad about it. But still, did he have weird hair? Yes. Who else had weird hair? Everyone in the 80s. Literally
everyone in the Batman movies. You remember Shrek?
Yeah.
Christopher Walken's Albert Einstein do.
Oh, man.
A very coiffed.
You know what? I've thought a little bit more about it. I like Gosling as Superman because now Gosling already played a young Hercules.
He did.
A role made popular by Kevin Sorbo. Mm-hmm. He plays Superman. That's a role that was done by Dean Cain. Yeah. That's a twofer for conservative asshole insane people. I love it.
It's like his weird like jacked yet also like triangle shaped body. I'm just like trying to picture it in a Superman suit. And you know what? I think he could do it. And you know what? Just have him arguing with Russell Crowe some more.
Mm-hmm. Honestly,
who
like
already played his dad.
Having seen how earnest and empathetic he's looked in things, I think you're right. I think he'd be a good Superman. And I would have liked to have seen Anne Hathaway as Lois Lane. I think she would have been good.
That'd be a good bit.
Yeah, that would be a good casting.
Yeah.
Better than her as Catwoman, anyway.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
And like, I love Anne Hathaway. I do.
Yeah.
That was not a good role. Not a good choice.
What I want to keep like an artifact from Anne Hathaway Catwoman is that when her as Lois Lane like gets tough with her interview, she just like takes her leg and goes, yeah, and just sticks it right up against the wall next to somebody's fucking neck.
I don't like how close your foot was to my face just
I
now.
didn't like anything about that situation just there.
Hey, like Superman, I restrained my power.
And you know what? Billy Zane is Lex Luthor. I'd watch it.
Yeah, that's pretty solid casting in my opinion too. And he has a good bald head. I mean, is he just bald all the time now?
Yeah, he's just bald all the time now. Yeah. You know what? Casper Van Dien is Lex Luthor.
Well, that'd be
I think he would be good.
We're talking about Starship Troopers guy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in honestly anything outside that movie.
I mean, he's done some other stuff. I think he was in Sleepy Hollow. I think he would be really good. He's got that stern, I'm better than you face.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. And you know what? I keep the theme. Christopher Walken is Brainiac. Kal-El, I've been collecting planets forever.
In my little tiny pot.
Right in my pocket.
I'm gonna go a little crazy.
Mr. Superman, I want to put you in my tiny pocket.
I'm gonna go a little crazy here and cast Perry. Now, only going by how David Arquette looks from the new Scream, because I haven't seen the new Scream yet, but you know what? David Arquette.
I'd watch that.
I like that.
That'd be interesting.
Like, and just think when he just gets like fucking crazy, like, I want pictures of Superman. He just
and then he hits someone who's mouthed off with a hurricane rana.
foreign object.
No, put David Arquette in anything. I'd watch it.
Yeah,
Put David Arquette in the game and I play it.
I know. I'm gonna. The Quarry, I'm going to do it. Now, are you actually going to be able to play as David Arquette is the question.
That is, he's the unlockable character when you beat the game.
It's DLC.
I'm just saying, like, the last big celebrity crossover game thing was Cyberpunk. So,
I mean, Until Dawn, by the number, at least how it works, did better than Cyberpunk, I would suppose. And
there have been plenty of games with like celebrity insertions in it. Even like years ago when fucking, oh God, was it Onimusha or something that had like Jean Reno as a playable character?
yeah, that was weird. Do you know who would make a good Brainiac? Keanu Reeves. Because he pretty much played Brainiac in the Man or The Day the Earth Stood Still. He was a weird, off-putting, emotionless alien. So he was just sort of Keanu.
Throw some green on that bitch.
I think he'd be a good Brainiac.
Yeah, put a little Kermit on that dome and he'd be ready to go.
Dear Lord, why have you forsaken me?
Hey, big brain. Kermit is like
All right, now, Superman, prepare to die.
all Muppet cast.
All Muppet cast. Fuck it, let's do it. Gonzo is Superman. I'm there.
Get out of my head.
I'm there. Let's go.
I mean, in one continuity, he was an alien. They matter.
Scooter's Jimmy Olsen. Rolf is Perry White. Kermit's Lex. Miss Piggy's obviously Lois Lane.
Yeah,
because she would have to be.
Fozzie Bear is Superman. Yeah.
No, Fozzie
could be Perry White.
Yeah, Fozzie could be a good Perry White or a good Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
I think Scooter's like a more like exact, it's like a little orange-headed kid with glasses.
Oh, I don't know their names, but the hecklers, I want one to be named Perry, the other to be named White, and I want them to both sit at the same
Statler
desk.
and Waldorf. Hell yes.
They're just like the co-captains of like this like bullpen for like reporters.
Like, what's up with the Superman? He wears his underwear on the outside of his pants.
Or just do like the Muppet Christmas Carol bit where you keep the main character but then make a joke out of the second one. So one of them's Perry White and one of them's name is Jack. Yeah, that's perfect. They're Perry White and Jack White, editors of the Daily Planet. There you go. Fozzie's Jimmy Olsen and Gonzo is Superman.
And Sweetums is Doomsday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm down for that. That's
totally.
great.
But like, other than for a bit, would anyone like want to watch this movie if it
Every
existed?
goddamn day?
Okay, which movie are we talking about?
Superman Lives.
Every goddamn day.
I kind of want to see. I kind of want to live in the universe where this movie exists.
Like,
not to see if it's good, because this movie is going like. John Peters said it could go either way. No, this movie was going to fail.
It was going to be bad.
But like
Warner Brothers made the right decision after spending $12 million.
Half the right decision. They also should have said no to Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
That is very true.
But
then and then the next year they fucking hit gangbusters with The Matrix.
Yeah.
Now, one guy that was involved with this movie left The Matrix to be a part of this.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Poor bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the
Like
art
he-
guys, right?
Yeah, one of the artists got hired to be on The Matrix. Then he got hired for Superman Lives. He's like, fuck this. I'm going to Superman Lives, and that movie didn't get made.
I mean,
But The Matrix went to revolutionize cinema as we know it.
and you know what? In another world, Superman Lives could have done the same, for better or for worse.
All I'm saying is, I will not rest until I take that skull ship away from John Peters.
That is so fucking sick.
That was pretty sweet.
Like, and how dare he? He's just like, hey, we kind of need that for a thing, and then the next day, movie's fucking canceled.
It's like he knew.
It's almost like he's a bad person.
God.
He was over there also that I was fighting for it. I wanted it to happen. It's like,
But he jumped on the wild. I mean, granted, I know you kind of have to jump on things pretty quick in Hollywood, but like, I don't know. He didn't seem as tore up about it as everyone.
Hey, as long as that bitch got his spider, he was good. It's like my review for the
Spiders are one of the most fierce ass animals in the animal kingdom. Can you imagine it bigger?
He can put on the fucking crocodile tears about this being a passion project for him all he wants, but he got his fucking money. His wallet was not affected by this.
Right.
movie
oh
not
no,
happening
like
at
he
all.
didn't miss a step.
Him and his fucking hair.
God, and the reason he is the villain of the movie is because all the quote good ideas that they were able to reproduce, he shot them down or like made them like rewrite them for like stupid shit like Superman fighting ninjas.
Yeah.
And don't forget the polar bears.
And
the
the
polar
polar
bears.
bears.
The other fiercest predator on Earth. And I don't know, I didn't see a polar bear come out of a vagina in that little sequence.
God, what did he said something about? Oh, men these days, they don't know nothing about fighting or whatever.
They didn't know about like shedding blood or whatever. It's like your fucking ass has ever been in like close to a whooping
I don't know
from your end.
I don't know the direct quote, but he was like something about what like they don't know what it's like to have another man's blood in their mouth or some shit.
Or
like that.
there's nothing like having another man's blood. I'm like, come on, dude, you stole that from like deer hunters.
like this fucker acting like he's in goddamn Bloodsport or some
Right.
shit.
And he's like bringing his fucking kids to like production meetings and shit.
And to shit on the artist, like, hey, which one did you like? His, that one sucks. Oh, thanks. I just worked on that for 9 hours. Whatever. Fuck you.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
like
and it's like that's sort of that bullshit like studio suit mentality that I'm just like, this is why shit doesn't get fucking made, because you know who has bad ideas? Fucking kids.
because they're kids, they're just like completely all in. So they're just like whatever catches their eye in the moment. So like they're trying to have like some big fucking thing of like, oh, you know, the inside of children, like whatever.
Yeah.
But like, it's just not a place for them in this professional
to
setting.
be fair, they might have been the only people in the building that had actually read a fucking comic book.
That's a good point.
I mean, yeah.
But seeing that they're John Peters kids, I highly doubt.
But also, if I forget anything from this fucking movie, I will remember that direct quote. And I'm glad you said, you know, your kids, they have bad ideas. Because he said, and the quote was, you know, a kid will give you, you know, a good and honest opinion.
It's like no,
it might give you a kid might give you an honest opinion. That doesn't mean they have good ones.
It's like they don't have the fucking life experience, and also you're going to tell like this kid is, you're going to listen to the kid over the people who have like honed their craft to tell them what's good or not. Fuck you.
Like,
dude.
obviously, yeah, yes men suck, but like just that is a far and away thing to try to compare it to.
But also too, like the sort of environment that he fostered, just with the, and it's something I kind of wish the movie focused on more of, on like how really shitty he treated people. Like, would just put them in headlocks for no reason,
Yeah.
and disrupt meetings, and like just
To be fair, I don't know if it needed to focus on that more, because everybody spent the entire movie shit talking this asshole. So this
I mean,
it was pretty upfront.
Answered a call in the middle of the interview.
That was a great bit.
So I think overall, what we're saying about the death of Superman Lives, what happened, is fuck them kids.
fuck them kids.
You know what?
They all have bad ideas.
It was not, you know,
They would have voted for. Never mind.
It was not a movie studio that was running low on money, was not willing to take risks. It was not all these, just like a climate of chaos. It was the children. The children are to blame.
Bastards.
Fuck them kids.
Now, and
Just wanting toys and shit all the time, not paying bills. Fucking weak.
Pissing and shitting, coughing in your mouth. Damn.
oh my goodness,
So yeah,
We about
we're
done with,
there.
so we about
we
done
go.
with this shit, Shimmy.
yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, I would have watched it if it would have come out.
Yeah, no,
I would have watched it. I'm not
absolutely.
saying I wouldn't. Just did I? After that, when I wanted it, not really.
I would have watched it once and then probably never again.
As a person who watched Superman 3 just about 2 days ago, yeah, I would have watched it.
Okay.
What about Quest for Peace?
I haven't gotten around to Quest for Peace yet. I was like doing them all, and
Have you seen it though?
oh yeah,
I was about to say, like-
I own it. I
They
mean,
put Nuclear Man in the comic.
I know I have that comic.
He was there for a panel, and then he melted away and died.
Like you told me Nuclear Man was in the book, and I bought it immediately.
It's like this the last funny thing Bendis ever did. Anyway,
he was the second Nuclear Man too.
so I think that'll wrap us up. Thank you all for listening to our unhinged rambling and ranting. So we're gonna do the normal plugs. Call it a night. Jojo, where can the people find you on the interwebs?
They can find me on the tweeters at JONIABOI24 and John Unson 12 on Letterboxd.
Can it?
I'm going to make it real simple for you. It's That Cannon Guy on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Goodreads, and TikTok.
Pat?
All right, thank you for listening. You can follow me at John Lawson's name on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And if you're listening to this the week it comes out, on Monday, March 21st, we have a brand new episode, All You Can Hear, episode 255, where JoJo, myself, and Wenzel have a nice long banner session talking about many things, including the horrific content that was a new Medea movie on Netflix. So check it out.
I just got to that part of the episode.
Emilio, thank you for being on today. Where can the people find you?
You can check me out on Instagram at SuperChico80.
Yes, it's his toy photography.
Yes.
It's good stuff.
Thanks for coming, Emilio.
Thank you guys. Oh, and who I would have cast, I'm going to take the wife's choice, Daniel Radcliffe as Superman and Clark Kent.
No. What you do, you get Radcliffe as Superman, and then Elijah Wood as Clark Kent.
Oh.
That'd be a funny
I don't know.
bit.
And then they just swap throughout the movie randomly. Or you have like one of them is Superman, the other one's Bizarro.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be
That
fun.
works. That works.
And I have been Captain Chimmy. You can find me at Captain Chimmy's Kinda Art, Captain Chimmy's Almost Music, Captain Chimmy's Toy Box. You can also come Tuscaloosa. Find me at the comic strip where we sell comic books. I have a lot of I have good Superman comic books. I have bad Superman comic books. I got a lot of comic books that have Superman, a lot that don't have Superman. You can check us out there on Facebook, Comic Strip Tuscaloosa. Same thing for Instagram. It's Comic Strip Alla on Twitter because Tuscaloosa was too long. We also have a website, thecomicstriptuscaloosa.com, where I have essays about Superman at Earth's End, the best book ever written. And you can check out our merch store for Cajun Greatness at tpublic.com/user/Cajun Greatness. We have a lot of good stuff. We'll have some more stuff soon. Fuck off. I'm busy. So next week we have something special planned. It's not concrete yet, but you know what? You'll find out when we get there. Why are you on my back about it? Just let me relax.
Guess what? There's going to be an episode next week.
Shocking, I know. But for real, thank you for listening. If you have a chance, check out this movie on the French subtitle rip on YouTube because who knows how long it'll be there, and then it's gone forever.
Time's a wasting.
Or if you're just a huge fan and you have $200, buy an autographed copy on eBay.
Fuck it, why not? We all got money to blow. It's America. Anyway, thank you for listening, and we will catch you next week.
Wait, Otto, what did you think?
Also, Cannon, get your cape out of my spaghetti.
I'm going to have to edit all of this.
No, bitch, you boy.
I'm kidding. We don't edit. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
How absurd.
Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
How absurd.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.